did in the opener, and you only have one game, and everyone on the outside is raving about how good you look. Is there any concern at all going into the next game, or do you feel that you know this team well enough that they've been through this and they don't do the ups and downs?
Yeah, we just try to be objective and watch the tape. And when you watch the tape, there's so much we have to clean up in all three phases of our team. It's just really obvious to us. So obviously there were some good things that happened in the game, but we have to address the issues, and there were plenty of them. There were plenty of them even on plays that were good for us offensively, and even on things that were good on defense. And so that's what you try to do. You try to go back and you look at those things objectively, independent of what the results are, good, bad, or indifferent, and just try to get better. And I think our team understands that approach.
Coach, what is it about a player like Zeke that allows him to get so much stronger as the year goes on, unlike other players?
Zeke's just a really good player. He's been a really good player in virtually every game we played him in. And, I think he loves to play football. He's got a tremendous competitive spirit. I think he's like a lot of really great backs that they get better and stronger throughout the game. They want more carries. That gets them in a better rhythm. They feel like they're, wearing the defense down over time. And I think that might apply to the season as well. He loves to play. He understands what the challenges are at his position, and he embraces them.
At what point do you maybe move on from, okay, we need to watch him this week to see if his legs are under him after such a long layoff that he had?
Yeah, we'll just watch them today, just like we'll watch all our players. We'll have a number of players continuing to come back from injuries and just want to see how they can handle the workload. And then literally we'll talk about them after practice and see what the plan is for them tomorrow. So we take it step by step, and we're going to work our way through Wednesday. Most of those guys will be out there practicing. We anticipate a good practice.
Who won't be practicing today?
Luke Gifford won't practice. Mike Weber won't practice. Tavon Austin will not practice. And he had concussion symptoms coming out of the game, so we'll just take his situation day by day. And Tyrone Crawford will not practice today either.
Just the hip deal.
Yes.
Still.
Austin was late in the game, Tavon late in the game, or was it something he had early and then it just showed up later?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I think he continued to feel some symptoms after the game, and it wasn't something that he needed to come out of the game for. So we just have to be mindful of that and take care of that the right way.
How is Randall's rib doing?
Seems like he's doing better.
How long does it take to get into the rhythm of the season? You guys always talk about having that schedule. How long does it take for guys to, okay, it's Wednesday, we move on? Is that an automatic thing that kind of happens for these guys?
Oh, I don't think it's an automatic thing. I think that's something you're always trying to instill in your team, the importance of today and letting yesterday go, regardless of what the results are, and just trying to get better. That's something you try to preach. There is an in-season rhythm that you have to get into. Last week was the first week that we had our schedule, our in-season schedule, but it was a little bit different in that we practiced on Monday. So this week's kind of the first week of the in-season schedule that we'll play. One of the things that you find out with our schedule and any schedule in the NFL is you have that for a little bit, but then the schedule changes. You play on Monday night or you play on Thursday or whatever it is. So you have to be adaptable. You have to be able to adjust and get yourself ready regardless.
How did Byron Jones come out of that game?
Seemed like he did well.
So you hoping to increase his workload or do the same as you did against?
Yeah, we'll see how he does today in practice and how he goes the rest of the week, but optimistic coming out of that game.
How responsible should everyone be to reflect on today, 18 years later?
Really one of the biggest tragedies in our country's history. And, I was living in New York at the time, and what was amazing to me about that time was just the response, the immediate response that everyone had to rally around the cause. The people who were lost and anything anybody could do, they seemed to be doing. And it just was the right response. It's the response that we expect from human beings and from Americans. And I think it's important for us all these years later to remember that. Remember how we rallied around as a country and stay together and really help people during times of challenging situations and tragedy. And I'm very proud of our country and how we handled that, but I do think it's important to keep that on our minds. It's a very significant day in our country's history.
What do you remember about when you were up there and you went as a team and went to the memorial? Was that a pretty moving?
Yeah, the whole time was incredibly emotional for everybody. We played a Monday night game in Denver the night before, and we got back to New York probably 5 o'clock in the morning, and I was living in the city, and I was driving into the city that morning, and I'll never forget the stories were that Michael Jordan was coming back from retirement, and that was kind of the deal. And I remember Cindy Crawford was on the Today Show that morning, and so I'm kind of trying to get some sleep as Tuesday's coming around, because we're going to practice the next day. We didn't get a chance to sleep overnight, and we lived on West End Avenue, and there was all these sirens going up and down, and I'm trying to sleep. I'm like, what's going on? And finally we turned on the TV and we realized what was happening. And again, it was just one of the great tragedies in our country's history, and so many different emotions, so many lives lost for no reason. But again, I thought everyone rallied around beautifully, and our people responded the right way, and our country responded the right way.
How reflective are you on this day, just based on where you were 18 years ago?
Well, the memories are extremely vivid for me. Like all tragic situations, you know, people a little older than me would talk about where they were when President Kennedy was shot, and they remember that day very vividly. And I don't know what that is about our emotions and our makeup as human beings, but it makes an indelible impression, and one that I'll never forget. I remember very vividly conversations I had with people that morning, and then subsequent days, and you know, just the tragedy that everyone was living with, and what it was like in New York for a number of weeks and months after that. How everyone's life was turned upside down, and how everyone had to, again, deal with that and rally around the cause and help people who were in need. And I thought our team did a great job. I'll never forget going down to that memorial soon after and seeing all the policemen and the firemen, you know, coming out of that space at ground zero. You know, those memories will never leave me.
Is it surreal to you that you're coming up on an era and a generation of young Americans that be on your team that don't have any memory of it?
Yeah, that's just the nature of life, isn't it? You know, it moves on quickly, and you know, many of the guys on our team are in their early 20s, and this was 18 years ago, so they probably weren't even in grade school yet. But there's no question that it was a really significant day in our country's history, a tragic day, and it's something that we should remember. And again, my most vivid memory is the response of everyone in our country, and how we rallied around that cause and helped people who were in need.
You talked a lot while Zeke was gone about there's only so much you can do in order to be in football or whatever. Does it ever amaze you the difference between just trying to keep yourself in shape and then what you're actually going to be doing when you get on the field?
It doesn't amaze me. I just think we're all very mindful of that, because, you know, as a former player and someone who coaches players, you know, we're all trying to get ourselves in shape, but there's a different kind of shape that you need to be in to play football and to play pro football and full pads in a game. So we try to get our players to that point, but then you have to practice, you have to go against each other, and it has to be a step-by-step process in order to play at your optimum level. So he's going through that, and a lot of our players are going through that. To be honest with you, players all around the league, as you get into the season, you know, hopefully the more you go, the more comfortable you get, you know, playing in these games. So he's no different than anybody else.
Was he about where you expected he would be physically in that game Sunday?
I thought he did a really good job in the game. There's no question he kept himself in really good shape. His weight was good, and for the time that he missed, I thought he handled the work really well.
What sort of improvement has Michael Gallup shown in just understanding coverage concepts and how defenses are approaching your offense?
Yeah, I think he's improved greatly in that, and it's a real tribute to him. It's a tribute to Sanjay Lal, you know, the job that Kellen has done, you know, with him. He just continues to grow from the experience he's had. He played a lot of football for us last year. He played better and better as the year went on. And if you go about it the right way, and you build on the good, and you learn from the bad, and you're very purposeful, your next time out, you're going to get better. And Michael has that way about him, and I do think he's playing more and more confidently the more he plays. I think there was tremendous evidence of that in the game the other day when we did have some opportunities in man coverage or zone coverage. He kind of hit it, played fast, and made some big plays as a result.
What's your earliest memory of Kellen coming into the team, I guess 2015 as a player?
Well, I always liked him. Obviously, I had great admiration for him. His college career was outstanding, and I remember seeing him at the Senior Bowl, and we talked about him then, and just followed his career. He's one of those guys that you kind of keep an eye on, because I had so much admiration for him, how he played, the success he had, and when we had the opportunity to bring him here, we're excited about that. And he immediately contributed. You could tell he knew what he was doing, a very smart player, and knew how to play to his skills and his ability level and his strengths and maybe his weaknesses. And that's a really important thing. It's important at any position, but particularly a quarterback, and he was able to do that. That's why he's been so successful. And we just felt like he would definitely be someone who would eventually transition into coaching, and we're excited that he was able to do that last year with us and now as our offensive coordinator.
What traits does Adrian Peterson have on and off the field that contribute to his longevity?
Oh, he's just as rare can be. He's just an unbelievable football player. His physical ability is off the charts. He's big, strong. He's fast. He's quick. He's explosive. Runs with unbelievable power. Change of direction. He's got really good vision. Maybe the thing that stands out more to me than anything else is his competitiveness. He's such a competitive runner. He's such a tough runner. He's hard to bring down. A little bit of an old school runner in that regard. I'm not going to get tackled, and you better bring more than just one guy to get me to the ground. So we saw that right from the start when he came out of Oklahoma, and obviously demonstrated that throughout this Hall of Fame career that he's had. The other thing is he's had some serious injuries, and he's come back from them quickly. So to your question about off the field, clearly he loves it. Clearly he's a committed worker to come back and come back as strong and as good as ever. So he's a special football player, and every time the ball's snapped, there's a challenge waiting for you.
Do you see any similarities with your guys on running back, with Ezekiel Elliott and Adrian Peterson?
I don't really like to compare players. Obviously, they're both great players. They've had great college careers, and obviously Adrian's been doing it for a lot longer than Zeke has, but each of those guys has been top running backs in the league. Probably have a little bit of a different style, but both great players.
The offseason between a player's rookie year and second year can be when he makes the greatest leap in his development. When did you have a sense that Gallup was making a leap?
Oh, I thought he played his best ball at the end of last year. So even prior to that, he just was playing with more and more confidence. And again, it goes back to learning from your experiences and growing and really being coachable, understanding what happened and what I need to do better on the next snap if I get that same look and same opportunity. And he's just been able to do that. He probably played his best game last year in the playoff game against the Rams, and he came back, had a great offseason, and is off to a really good start.
How would you describe Taco's role in the team right now, and what do you want to see from him to put him on that 46?
Yeah, he's just competing. He's competing for an opportunity to get a jersey on Sunday, and that's what we ask from our guys. We try to build a roster that's competitive. So you're competing for guys to make the roster, make the 46, and then you compete for playing time. So he's just in that mix right now.
Is it disappointing that a first-round pick is in a mix for a jersey?
Yeah, the biggest thing we try to do is it really doesn't matter where you came from. It just matters what you do. And so, we're going to try to play the best guys. We're going to give everybody an opportunity to show that they can play and have a role, and choose the best ones. The guys are going to help us be the best football team. So, again, it doesn't really matter where they come from. It's just what you're doing for us right now and how you can help us.
How did Jackson hold up in that game?
Seemed like you did a good job.
How big is that when you talk about Taco and even Tristan, when you're evaluating them and trying to get them on the 46, weight room, meeting room, how do you manage all that into what they do on the practice field? Like when you evaluate them, trying to see, driving them up.
Yeah, obviously you want guys to handle themselves the right way off the field, weight room meetings, walk through all of that, but ultimately it matters how you're playing. And if we can count on you and we can help our team. So that's most of that is based on how you practice and how you've played up to this point. And, if we feel like you're one of those guys that can help our team more than somebody else, you'll get a chance to do that. If you feel like somebody else is, again, regardless of where you came from and when you were drafted, we'll play the other guy.
You look pretty visible at times during preseason, Taco did. So what's missing in the middle of the week on practice days from putting him and making you feel comfortable as a member of the 46 on Sunday?
Yeah, we just feel good about the guys we have up. And, the guys who aren't, part of the active roster each week, it's not necessarily a negative reflection on them. It's just we're trying to pick the 46 guys that can help us the most. And in some cases, it's a role they might play, position flex, some versatility. Sometimes it has everything to do with what you're doing. Sometimes it has nothing to do with what you're doing. So that's the reason we had the 8 guys up that we did, and that's the reason we had the 46 guys up that we did. We just think those guys give us the best chance.
Ryan Kerrigan led the Redskins defense last year with 13 sacks. He's never missed an NFL game, playing 129 straight. With his durability and productivity, what challenges does he present to them?
He's just a great player. He's been a great player ever since we started playing against him years ago. I remember him getting drafted high out of Purdue and thinking a lot of him coming out of school. And our evaluation was that he was a relentless player, and he's demonstrated that over the course of his career. He's got very good ability. He's strong. He's quick. He's explosive. He has a good rush repertoire. But line one with him, he's a relentless player. He just keeps coming, keeps coming, keeps coming. I think that goes to his durability. He's there every week. He plays a ton of snaps for him. He plays the run. He affects the quarterback. He's just a really good football player.
Have you made a move with your open slot?
Not yet.
Thank you.
Okay, guys. Good to see you.